the way up to high school when you're talking about angles and lift and gravity. And so it really is scalable for just about any grade level. Like I said, in Concord, we made this into a semester-long activity. So kids were doing things like writing, asking for donations for helium. So there's persuasive writing, and there's a lot of close reading activities that were involved, just because we kind of would give kids an opportunity to ask questions, and then once they asked questions, then they took those questions and turned it into their own units of study. So it was really a cool, a unique teaching opportunity for the teachers to kind of sit back and kind of, guide here or guide here, but really, whoever's talking the most in the classroom is usually learning the most. And if you've been into classrooms where this project is happening, there's not a lot of teacher talk. It's a lot of kids off doing their own things. And so what I thought was cool is that I would leave the classroom feeling energized, and the kids would leave worn out. And I feel like that's how you know that authentic learning is happening, is when, as a teacher, you are kind of the guide rails, and the students are the ones driving, so they're kind of picking the pace, the direction, things like that. So what we have, we'll kind of walk you through all the apparatus.
About 15 minutes out, should I call?
Yeah, go ahead. That would be fine. So before we get started, Mr. Modlin is getting ready to call the South Bend Airport to let them know. We're about 5 miles southeast of the airport, so it's pretty important to them that they know where this balloon is at, because once we let go of it, it's out of our hands, literally and figuratively. We don't know what's going to happen to it. So we had to coordinate with South Bend Airport. Chicago Air Traffic Control wants to know what's going on, because above 10,000 feet, even here, is considered Chicago airspace. So they want to know what's going on, so we'll call them here in a minute. And then we also had to coordinate with the FAA at the federal level to let them know we're doing this and put out a notice to airmen, so that they know, so that any pilot anywhere, be it a helicopter pilot or somebody flying a 737, knows that this is going to be in their airspace. Am I missing anything?
Sorry. What? I was just learning stuff today.
A lot of people need to know. We talked to a friend, his brother's a pilot, and he goes, we were doing these notice airmen, he goes, do you ever see these things? He goes, yeah, it goes about like this. Is that a... Yep.
and that's, we talk sort of nonchalantly, like, you think about the size of an airliner, right? They're 200 yards, they're 100 yards long and 100 yards wide, and they're going 600 miles an hour. This is like us walking past a fly, comparatively. But I also understand that if you're flying like a tiny little single-engine airplane, all this strength can cause a problem for you. So we want to be respectful and obey the law, right? So we play by the rules. But typically, our technical legal obligation is only to file the notice to airmen. But being that we're so close to South Bend, we want to make sure that we're honoring their needs as well. So in just a minute, we're going to take out the balloon. The balloon is made of latex, just like any other balloon, and will fill with helium like any other balloon. But you'll see pretty quickly it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's pretty big. We
got
one here, but
okay.
maybe we should.
Do you want to walk through?
Wait, this is Mr. Wallach from Jefferson Middle School and Ms. King from Concord Schools.
Okay, so
I might have missed
my weather balloon team.
Steve's
Come on over
colleague.
here.
Yeah,
Steve's
people
colleague,
watching us.
yes.
Steve's colleagues.
Okay, so for the other people here who are watching or here in person, can you tell them what devices we have on and why we have said devices on this rig, and also what we don't have on this one that we did have on ours? Go for it.
So we have this is I think it's like an Air or something.
I don't,
GoPro,
I'm not sure which GoPro
yeah.
it is.
I'm not sure which one, but on our rig we had a 360 GoPro from at school, and it was one where it could capture a lot of image. And what we did, so you could see how basically how big it was. We had one, so there was like a GoPro that was pointing at a little action figure or a keychain, and you could tell that it was a lot bigger than it would look if you basically didn't have.
So we can tell how big the Earth was, right?
Yeah, like you can tell how big.
What else is on there, friends?
What is this?
The audio beacon.
Oh, this. Do you remember?
Here, oh, you guys know. Oh, I thought you didn't know.
Oh, the spot trace.
Yeah.
What does spot trace do?
It tracks.
That allows us to find
Okay,
the
you
balloon,
have
right?
never once stopped talking in my classroom. Now you choose the moment. The spot trace, and we have that to track, but we also have another tracking device, which is where?
It's down right here.
Right here, which
It's
is
a straddle track.
yeah. So why do we have two?
We have two, just one has the blackout. Yeah, one has the blackout, so we'll always know where it is.
I was gonna.
The spot trace has a blackout zone at 60,000 feet in the air, and the straddle track doesn't really start up until, like, it doesn't actually track that well until it's 10,000 feet in the air.
1 or 2,000, yeah.
Yeah.
It catches up then.
But we have I talked about this with my kids a lot. There's some redundancy in our tracking abilities because we don't want to lose all this stuff. We want to get this back.
Right.
That's how we can see the video. We also have this Eagle flight computer which captures atmospheric data, so like temperature, air pressure, wind speed, speed. We could tell the wind speed by how quick the balloon travels because the wind's going to obviously blow it. There's a parachute. What does a parachute do, people?
So the parachute slow.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
Comes back
exactly.
down after it pops.
And then the audio beacon. What is that? What is the purpose of the?
If it gets stuck in a tree, then we can't see it, but we know where it is on the tracking device. It'll just go, and we can hear it, and then we can find it.
Right. So it's another level of redundancy in the design. So redundancy just means that you have the same thing that does. You have more than one thing accomplishing the same task. So again, if it lands in a tree, we have a two-dimensional image on the tracking app, but this allows us to see above the ground by being able to hear where it's at.
And what else do we usually send up?
Experiments.
Like what kinds of things have you sent before?
We've sent Orbeez, cotton candy, aloe.
And what are you testing when you send these things
We
up? Like
see like what happens to it. Like the cotton candy, when it goes in your mouth, it like falls apart, and we're wondering what will happen if there's not a lot of pressure. Will it like fall apart? Like will it grow bigger? We just wonder.
can you guys talk about how is the stratosphere different from where we're at right now? What are some differences?
There's less air pressure.
Why? Do you know? That's okay.
I know it's been a while.
That's okay.
Throwing you
So
in.
less
It's
air
summertime.
pressure. What else?
It's summertime.
What's another difference between the upper atmosphere and here? So lower air pressure. What else?
Right.
It's what? Much colder. Like, can you remember how cold?
37 degrees.
Maybe add a negative sign to that.
Negative 75.
Yeah,
I think.
like negative 40, negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Anybody else remember another thing?
It gets way hotter.
Eventually it will get hotter.
Eventually.
I'll real quickly explain why the air pressure. So gravity affects everything. Gravity's pulling air down on top of us right now. Okay, so right now you got about 13 pounds of air pushing down on you, but you don't know it because you've never not experienced it. Okay, as you go higher, gravity's pulling everything down. So at some point you get to a place where there's not as much air, and eventually when this gets to 100,000 feet, there's literally the air pressure is like in the 10,000ths of it's 1/10,000th of what it is here on the ground. So what happens to the balloon because there's no air pressure? Do you remember that? Yes, go ahead.
So the helium inside of it is trying to escape.
Yeah.
Basically, it keeps trying to escape, which is why the balloon expands even more and more in the stratosphere. And then eventually, when it gets too big, it'll just pop because there's so much air pressure and the helium's just trying to get out.
So eventually the pressure inside gets greater than the pressure outside. The balloon expands and pops. And then back to Earth.
I think the neatest thing that I learned as a part of this is when you have the video going down here, that beeper is really loud, but at the very, very top, it's not as loud because of the lack of.
There's no air for the sound to travel through.
So,
Which is kind of a nice relief because
it's so
It is pretty loud.
Yeah, because if you can imagine this, beep, that's what the video looks like.
not great.
Yeah.
So what's the farthest it's traveled before?
I think I win that actually.
Well, yeah, I mean it's fallen in Lake Erie.
You and your lucky
Well,
one.
maybe Huron actually.
Oh, we
It
have
fell in Huron. And then
who did you have to
Canada.
call to get that for you?
Canada quite.
Yeah, so
We have so many cool stories.
we had, so the one that I remember the most was the last time I did it with kids, before I left the classroom, we launched it from Elkhart and it went all the way over Michigan, all the way over about half of Ontario, and then hooked and landed about 30 miles offshore in Lake Erie. And we're like, it's gone. And then I'm sitting, hanging out one night, and Miss King texts me. She's like, the spot track's alive again. And so it's flashing in the middle of Lake Erie. So we're like, well, it's gone. And so anyways, long story short, a gentleman who does like search and recovery in the lake somehow found out that we were looking to get this back, and he said, well, we'll get it. And his thing was he was going to use this as a search and rescue training exercise for the people on his team, because they have coordinates, but actually locating it in the middle of nothing is a different prospect. So after he went and found this thing, he did a Google Hangout with our kids and explained exactly what he does, and it was awesome. So the other really awesome real world connection is every time we do this, we meet new people and have the strangest experiences.
They are wild.
And things that you would never be able to predict happen, and the kids get to be a part of it. So it's really like you're learning on the fly, we're learning on the fly.
How many launches have you done?
That's true.
How many have we done? Over 20? Close to 20?
15-ish maybe, yeah. I don't know. A lot. Maybe 20 by now.
Maybe 20.
Right.
Okay.
Matt and I, we've done 3.
All right.
4.
Okay, we're ready to get going. So,
And the stories are unbelievable.
Yeah, and they're different
Like-
every
over here,
time.
sitting on the helium tank.
So everybody who's touching the balloon will be wearing gloves.
And jump over, yeah.
Do you think maybe
Matt, could you move your truck out of the way now that we realize that we're having
just
crazy crowd?
over there.
So 2 more questions that
Yes.
are on the triangle.
Yes.
First, why a triangle and not another shape, you guys?
Does anybody have an idea about? I actually don't know.
It's just the structure.
One of the sturdiest structures.
You're right, just being structurally sound makes sense. And what about the very expensive pool noodles? Everything else looks really expensive. Maybe not the pool noodles. Why?
Miss King can answer that from a painful perspective.
Well, okay. Out of all the balloons we've launched, only one has never been recovered, which was mine, and it's in the bottom of Lake St. Clair in Canada. And because we didn't have pool noodles on it. Now we put pool
Now we
noodles
put
on
pool
every
noodles.
single time. So you got yours out of
It's
Erie.
a really, really cheap insurance
Yeah.
policy.
What did you have on it?
The pool noodles allow it to float.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's $1 insurance policy on a $1,000.
Right, it's $1,000 kit.
Okay, so let's have anybody who's
And the last thing that anybody who wants to do this at home, put your phone number on these things.
Yeah, put your
So,
phone number on it, because if it lands on somebody's semi truck going down the road and they find it when they stop, they can call you.
right.
Very specific stories.
That was oddly
Mr.
specific.
Lucky's like doomsday stories. It's gonna land on a truck. I do.
Okay, so we've got some votes, I believe. We've got 6 people are voting it will land on land or field, and 5 people are voting it will land on a building. 0 people for water. So let us know where you think it'll land.
You guys remember you're a table for now. You're a table on the table. So you have your like this. Yeah.
Like this initially, and then it'll make sense to you pretty quickly when you want to move your hands off of it.
Right. You'll be kind of like this. The thing we did not want cannot happen is it cannot touch the ground at all.
Especially this, because this is hot and oily.
Yeah.
And so I'm live
So
streaming
that's
this.
why we have a lot of you who will eventually have your hands up like this around the balloon so that it cannot, even in the wind,
Good idea or bad idea?
cannot
What?
touched around at all. And then we'll have-
Looking at the sun with binoculars is a bad idea.
Not at the sun, at the balloon.
Oh.
Although it was kind of going to go that way.
Depends which way it goes, yes.
Holding it for dear life.
We use black electrical tape. The joke is it holds the whole thing together, but we like it because it's very stretchy and it sticks really well to the latex. And I'm not going to speak that story into existence just yet, but as soon as we're finished with this,
Where it flew off.
you had to do it, didn't you?
I mean, I told them. I told you guys that when I didn't put the tape on and they started filling it up and the balloon just...
Well, some friends of ours that did this in Goshen, not Concord,
Right.
they had one. They had
true.
one that was totally full, like
Yeah.
their whole tank of helium was in it,
Oh,
and then
no.
it took off
Yeah.
like a really big
That was not good.
kind of thing.
Oh
so,
no.
so that's why we do this, and you'll
I'll appreciate that.
yeah. Again, it's cheap insurance.
Yeah. When we move the balloon over here, we'll put this back up here. Makes sense? So this is just on the ground for now. Well, actually, I don't think we need to.
All right.
Nope. You won't need it.
All right, you ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. Very slowly. Don't let it scare you when it starts. Other direction.
Hallie knows it comes out quickly, doesn't it?
There we go. All right, a little bit more.
Oh, it's going up quick.
Give it a little bit more. Slow down a little bit. All right, you want to get the needle out? Yeah, yeah. All right, guys.
All right, back
Oh,
up.
no, go ahead. Keep going. That's good. Hey, King, the problem is we're at Can you turn that down? There you go.
I mean,
Good thing he's sitting on that.
All right. So, no, we're good. So we're just going to.
okay, so we're calling timeout to tie some things
I've
on.
got the balloon for you today. Just don't put your hands on this side of it.
Yep. Okay.
There we go.
Here we are.
All
Okay.
right, now we're going to go down to the ground. And
Yep.
Can we get the table out of the way, though, so we don't bump into it?
Yep.
Thank you.
How's that stopping?
I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
So the reason why we get down on the ground is obviously there's less wind down here, easier to work.
Allie, Aiden are down here. You stand up. Stand up. Alright, so you gotta keep both hands up. If you need, you can put one arm down at a time, but not both arms.
Where's the real band man at?
Can I have you actually right over here? Behind Mr. Wallach? Yeah. That's good.
Not yet.
Right here. Yep.
Of all of the activities I've
This is
I know, because it's so...
maybe even this activity
Hey, King, are you just
never
going to
gets
empty
old,
that tank into this, or what are you going to do?
What now?
I mean, we've got 3D print.
which are awesome. This is a game changer.
I don't know how much is actually left in there.
Not my fault. That's fair. That's fair.
I think it'll just be like physics, at the top.
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay, so I gotta back up because that balloon's getting big.
Okay.
Is she big enough? She's going to float away. They do sometimes.
That is a good question. Assignments for kids. You can't put the little kid on the bottom holding it, or they float away, right?
You're right, yeah.
She was good. We gotta wait. I don't even know how, because it was supposed to be like storm.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Like meeting rare right
So, what does South Bend say? What does South Bend say when you call?
Yeah, so South Bend asked where we were releasing from. I told them we'd be releasing from here in about 15 minutes, and they said thanks for letting us know.
Easy peasy. Right? Okay.
Notice it feels cold.
That's what I feel like is one of the biggest fears in education, and just
Well, when
like
compressed air becomes
deciding to do big projects like this is just like the risk and of course like the paranoia.
we got a lot.
One of these activities is, I mean, it's their job to keep everybody safe in the sky. So we can do this.
Yeah.
I thought it was really great to be able to see the students be able to talk about their past experiences and be able to communicate that, you know. I was probably well into my adult years before I felt comfortable talking in front of another group of adults and students, so it's so great to be able to give them the opportunity to have that public speaking. And
Okay, so now it's a little bit of a scary moment because we're gonna let go for just a second because we want to measure the amount of lift the balloon is generating. We do that using a spring scale, and that just tells us how much lift we're going to be generating, because obviously we have the balloon weighs 1,200 grams, the rig weighs a certain amount, and we want to make sure we have enough lift in the balloon to get this thing up above the trees pretty quickly.
All right, so here we go.
So we're looking for what, about?
You might have to be up on your knees, you guys.
We're looking for about 3,000 grams of lift.
Okay.
So we're basically measuring negative 3,000 grams. All right.
So this is a scary moment because the only thing that's holding it will be my fingers.
Ready?
But you don't, keep your hands very close, but
Hover.
hover.
That's 330 newtons. What do we have?
That's a little over 20. Well, not quite to 3 yet.
Okay.
I think we should add a little more, but
Stick
A
to
little
three.
more.
what happens if you don't add enough?
so that has happened. Then it just,
Okay.
well, one time it never got high enough to get to the point of popping.
Yeah.
So then that one was in the air for maybe 18 hours actually. And then that's the one that was actually hovering over Lake Huron when two fishermen saw it from their boat.
UFO.
Just happened to be also worked for FedEx actually. So then they took it into they popped it, they took it into their boat because that thing never popped, and then they shipped it back to us after they called us. So yeah, we try to make sure it has enough to, first of all, clear any obstructions, and then also to get high enough to pop, and to get home before midnight. So, you know, it's
all the goals.
all the goals.
Yeah.
About how long for it to get to its apogee?
About 2 hours.
Yeah,
And then to
probably
come
about-
back down?
About 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Maybe less.
It plummets.
Yeah, it plummets.
If the parachute gets tangled in all of the flight line, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You good?
Well, and it's funny to see the size of the balloon and then the size of the parachute. That always throws
Yeah.
me. Like the parachute, not that big.
Okay.
The balloon is the size of many of these kids.
I'm so glad. Oh wow, thank you for
So one of the reasons we are launching it here in the Jackson parking lot, we originally wanted to do it in the field,
Yes, we got. So this is
but with a slight wind, we've got to deal with all of the lights for the football field. There's a radio tower to our east, and so as we are facing the balloon and facing straight west, we do have a wind coming from the west,
Oh yeah.
pretty much straight west. So it'll probably fly straight east. We've got a beautiful day here in South Bend, but as you can kind of see, there's not much to, once we get it up over the tree line, we'll be fairly safe. We hope. Famous last words.
I'm gonna take this tape off. First thing I'll need when I got
And then prior to what Madeline and I were just talking about, and Ryan and Elizabeth were like getting the kids to do some public speaking, and also if teachers are watching this, you can get students to do presentations for school boards, because it is school boards of course want to support you in your classroom, but it is a lot more challenging for school board members to say no to little kids. So we've seen a lot of success with that. Wait too. Okay, so we've got a group of kids from three kids from South Bend schools, a group of kids from Concord schools.
We use rubber bands because the end of this is latex, but it's really thick, like it's probably a 1/4 inch latex. So we use rubber bands to kind of bend it together so that it stays closed. And then we'll use a whole lot of black electrical tape to make sure that it's sealed.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so there's.
So basically she's just making like the tightest braid ever by just going around and looping around and looping.
So now, electric tape.
I know. We should like wave people in and show them how cool this is.
So now I will.
Oh, this one is awesome.
Okay, so all of the school activities you've ever done, assignments, homework, even standardized tests, where does this rank in the coolness factor
Yeah, you can
at
take a
school?
break if you need, but.
Definitely the highest.
The highest? Literally and figuratively, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still remember.
All right, Lewis, this is your first time doing this. How pumped are you?
1007, 150.
Eh? Oh,
100,000.
I don't even know you.
Right? You memorized that.
Goes up fast.
it does go fast.
Okay, so now what I'm doing.
Okay, so of all of your schooling,
Let's see. I'm gonna need
tests, homework, projects, where does this rank in projects for
You
you?
got it, Mr. Wallace?
Number one.
Number one.
I love this.
This is super cool, right? I mean, you're volunteering your summertime to come here and do this. That says something.
This is amazing.
Ah.
It's like a once in a lifetime experience.
And how many times have you done it?
Too.
There you go.
Well, twice in a lifetime.
Twice in a lifetime experience. Love it. Pro now.
Mistake of enthusiasm.
You're almost caught up with me. This is my like 4th or 5th time, so you're almost caught up with me.
Only a mistake.
Yeah, no perspective. Not.
I'll get there eventually.
You will. You've got some years to catch up.
Oh, Aiden. Yes. Can you grab this? Grab this knot really tightly there.
Can you give us one of those small? Do you have any small ones left?
Pretty neat, right? Okay. Do you think this is pretty cool? Are you glad you're spending your summer day with
I said orange.
doing school project? Or you're just like, my dad dragged me out.
Okay.
We won't name names. Not on YouTube.
Favorite tool?
Tape?
Yeah. Mine too. I mean, you know. We're not letting anything.
I'd rather use tape than glue.
I thought I was the only person
All right,
who
so-
was excited to see tape at a
So
garage.
now we have this cord that has a loop in the end of it. Did we double check that that was nice and tight? Can you just,
You got the balloon?
yeah.
All right, Aiden, hold on both hands too.
Good
Yeah.
test.
Do we want to do more? Tape?
I was more concerned about the knot.
We're gonna.
Oh, okay.
If a little game of tug of war to
Okay, we're
like
gonna.
this.
No, you're good. You can hang on there, right there. Yep. Okay. I think we're gonna have. I think regardless.
This king, I'm gonna have that.
So excited.
Girl, you would be both.
I was so excited to have innovated, and then it didn't happen.
Well, it's okay. Okay, now then.
Oh, I think this was only going to be a thing if we had it.
There we go. All right, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this.
Here it is. So.
Guys, make sure your plugs don't worry. I got static electricity.
I did tape Jake to the balloon, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
times.
Up here.
There's a movie like that. It's
True. Up?
There is?
No, that's not.
There's a movie with putting tape
Oh, yeah. What happened? Okay.
classic mistake.
Everything's fine. Okay. Aiden, can you just pull that? Okay. Yeah.
Need more tape?
It's gonna breaking it. I'll show you my hand. Yeah. Good.
I'm sure I've done it.
Oh, let me get my finger out of there.
There you go.
You don't want to float away on your own. Except for the tape.
We don't take that off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one. Now this is when we take our time. Remember, Frankfurt? Whoops! All right, broke one. Can I have another one?
Of course you broke one. Hey. I know, I always break it
That's not bad.
I break it here.
I almost break it.
Here, just take all of
This
them.
thing is too big. You just got to make sure, like, you got to be older students that are way a little bit.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Oh, shade is over
Be like,
there.
I think the universe is saying,
Oh, we're good.
Just tape it.
Here we go, friend. All right. Now, can you also hold here, Hallie? Right below Mr. Williams. Yeah. All right.
Circle.
There we go.
That's more electrical tape.
Looks like one of those.
Do you want my glasses?
I just need you to hold it right there, and I'm going to take you to it.
Are you ready?
Tell us how it is.
No. I'm not.
Are you having fun though? I mean, prep work is only so much fun, but
Yeah, and I won't be able to breathe.
Well, also, we're going to send
the ultimate assessment of the
You're gonna make
upper
me
atmosphere.
die.
What?
No.
Oh, okay. Can you hold down here now on this? And like a little bit down. There we go.
so have we met?
I
They
just
put the spring on again,
somewhere where they
scale.
did send somebody
Are
up
we
on
good there?
another balloon.
We're good there?
But they had the balloon was
missed
like,
Really?
it was kind of one of
Hold it
those,
down. There you go.
people who do like the near space jump.
Okay. You guys good? You can put an arm down if you need. We're almost there.
All right.
Yeah, almost to lunchtime.
I mean, this is how much helium we need to lift like
Means
3
we're
miles.
almost at lunchtime.
I'm glad that's your priority.
Lunchtime or launch time?
Lunchable time.
Okay, what do we think?
I think I want to do this.
Yep. Should I put any more down here?
The lunchables are
Yeah,
always
let's get
fun.
All right. Can you move your hand up a little, Aiden, but hold really tightly there? Thank you.
So we always like to go excessive on the tape because,
Way more than probably
again,
necessary.
it's very cheap insurance.
Yeah.
Can you put my glove on?
Crazy,
Do it.
crazy,
There you go.
crazy.
Thank you. I
Ah,
will take
your
the
name
nickname
went
Crazy Taker.
Crazy.
Our new nickname is Crazy Tape.
Crazy taker.
Thank you so much.
Everyone great.
Thank you.
That's a very nice name.
Thank you so much. Okay.
That looks good.
I feel like Bella's
Crazy
I'm
Tape
gonna do-
Woman. What are we gonna do?
Oh, that shall be attached to.
Let's just.
I know what we're
Also
gonna
do
do
that.
with it, but when?
Oh, in a moment.
All right. Who has the rig?
Oh,
It's over there.
so Jake and Micah, why don't you guys go check the
Yeah.
the
Go ahead and
lights?
check that. Make sure we got green everywhere.
Okay. Green everywhere. Move the spot trees to make like so it can go green. That's the only way that you'll know. Oh, there it is.
So
I have the
He's
strategy.
watching.
that looks good.
That one's
And then the spot on the other side of it, Mike says where you'll have to look
like,
like here.
Yeah, like move.
oh, okay. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I moved it a bit until I got the green.
Jake, in a minute I'll have you bring us this. Got it. Let's look for green.
That's so little.
I know. And it only goes about every minute, so.
Wink.
Yeah.
Close one at a time.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got green?
Yep.
All right.
Double green.
Okay.
Good job.
Did we have greens there, Micah?
Okay.
Not yet.
Not
No
yet.
greens?
No greens yet.
Okay.
Where are we programming the
Sometimes
GoPro to
it
do?
turns off when it doesn't move.
I don't know.
Here.
So I wouldn't have that.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay, so this one's not going because it hasn't moved in a very long time.
But now that the power.
But now that the power is
Okay.
we're good. Yes. Yep. You can take the gloves off.
Oops.
Okay.
Okay. Green on GPS. So we need to turn two more things on, the audio and then the GoPro, right?
We're ready to stand up.
Oh, getting ready.
Okay. Yep. So, Micah, can you carry the rig? pick it up. Lemon.
Like
Pick up the rig and bring it over here. Shake. Yep. All right. So we're connecting.
Oh,
Yeah, but you have a chance to turn that
goodness.
camera
Like
on.
these ones. Take that.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys.
Go ahead and let go.
Yeah, you want to get the GoPro working, and there we go. Remember, your job's making sure it's beeping. We got 2 new people
I feel
watching.
like I'm achieving my weight loss goals.
Good. That's what we like to hear. All right. Well, Looney Tunes. Maybe that's our name.
Oh no.
Turn on before.
Everything else is good. Whose job was the audio beacon?
It's green.
So Matt, we're recording on the camera now.
We are recording on the
That's fine. Okay. So we will let it up.
We gotta do the
very
audio.
slowly. We'll have
audio guy.
multiple.
We'll do that like the very last
we'll
Okay.
do that
But thank you for
way
remembering.
before. Okay, Mr. Bob.
I just heard
Okay, we are about ready to go. Here we go. So you can kind of see there's adults over there and the size of the balloon. Enormous.
Speed it up real slow because of the wind. We want to kind of get a feel of the wind. On windy days, sometimes the balloon is on the ground at this point, so we're really very lucky right now.
I mean, for the forecast that we were supposed to have, this is amazing.
This I know.
Oh yeah.
Knock on wood.
All right. Gently, gently.
It's like a shoe print. Yeah, green's on it.
All right, we're launching here in like 30 seconds.
So we also like to speed it up real nice and slow to make sure everything's straight here because
This is our only chance, right?
We got tanked.
Once we let go, we're done. Except for all
We're all done.
yeah, we're good, right?
Okay, audio?
We got that green. We saw green on that one.
all right, guys, come over and hold it.
Step over this way. Woo! Yeah, look at that.
And then
Here.
well, that is perfectly straight up. This is good.
It's gonna
Dave.
land over there.
It's gonna, yeah. We're gonna go get lunch just down the street. It's gonna land over in the parking lot.
I
There's
know.
literally no wind.
So you move it all.
I see the. What if it went straight up the
I
cup?
think we're
Should
really,
we
There's
leave
a
it in a
slight
I think we're really good.
You want
So we gotta turn the audio on.
Everything's
see
good.
wind.
All right, audio
All right.
beacon, hit it.
The wind's. Get the audio beat.
Oh sure, yeah. And then Owen, you can grab
Is this recording?
Okay, there we go.
All right.
Look at that. We are straight up.
All right, count it down, guys.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let it go!
It is heading straight up, you guys. We are at Jackson Middle School, southern South Bend, Indiana, heading northeast. It is awesome. Good job, bud.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
job.
You, yes! Woo!
All right, now the next thing, King.
Look how weird it is.
Yeah, the next thing is to clean up.
Easily
That's
the
it. You guys clean up.
See?
We'll hang out over
straightest
here.
balloon.
Oh yeah.
Who wants to make?
So at this point, what we're waiting on, what we're not really waiting anymore, but one of the tracking devices transmits the balloon's location every minute.
Okay.
So Miss King is going to grab a QR code that you can scan, and it'll take you to the tracking website. But with this particular setup, you'll be able to see that thing through 7,000 or 8,000 feet probably.
Right.
Or at least when, I don't know, I can't tell how high those clouds are, but
All summer.
We will also add that link to the bio below for this.
don't look at the sun. Yeah, so I just wanted to
So the balloon is right up there. Haven't broken through the clouds yet. I don't know. How high do you guys think that is now? 2,000? A couple hundred.
Hey, it's at 1,073 feet.
1,000 feet already.
Yeah.
That is moving. Okay, so here's all the information. There's a QR code right there. I'm not sure if you can scan it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll, now I lost it. I lost it. I don't know where it is. Did it just go through the clouds, you guys? Oh, okay. All right. We will, we lost visual, but
My hand balloon just popped.
your hand balloon? Well, I'm glad that was just your hand balloon. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. I don't know how to turn this thing on.
I'm trying to pop mine.
I've done all this live streaming and now I don't know how to turn this off. How do we do this?
It looks delicious.
There you go. That's fine. Well, maybe.
We did YouTube? There we go. Okay. Are you sure you want to?
Ooh, this feels so weird.